Now, a lot of time people are worried about salary and the money, and what I would recommend everybody is to understand the supply and demand. The salaries are more dependent on the supply and demand and less than the actual difficulty of learning that topic. I have a personal story where when I used to work for an investment bank, and suddenly I found that some of the people in IT big data or data wrangling are getting more paid than quants or people who studied like financial engineering, which is supposed to be more glamorous. And I found out that it's hard to find people in big data, so their salary is going up. And the quant guys who were considered to be the most elite in terms of hardest to get a job. So when I went for a quant job interview, I had to go through 8 rounds. I had to take a round of math, probability, programming, SQL, fixed income, equity, English, and it took like a whole week to get there. And then my salary was less than by somebody who just got a job without a technical interview because he's a Hadoop developer and they cannot find big data professional and he's getting more money. So when you would see that I have to get knowledge of 6 7 separate fields, which includes fixed income and equity and math and programming and databases as a quant, and I'm not getting enough salary as somebody who's working in big data just because the technology is so new and they cannot find people. So you should always focus on supply and demand. I'll give you one more personal example from my experience, which is right now in December 2018, the highest paid field is Kafka, which is how to store streaming data and the big data infrastructure on streaming data. So because a lot of companies want to include streaming data and save streaming data on the Hadoop file system so that they can use it. Otherwise, a lot of streaming data goes to waste. So supply and demand is more important than the difficulty or the topic. So when we look at it, we have been talking about that the data science jobs are picking up in numbers. They're predicting that the whole data analytics, data science, machine learning, business intelligence, data, all the data kind of jobs, which includes information system, information management system, all these things would go to 2.72 in 2020. The annual fast-growing role for data scientists will nearly reach 70,000 by 2020, and the number of all jobs required would increase by 364,000, and it would reach 2 million. Now, IT spending and freelancing and hiring tools. When you look at a lot about the jobs, the kind of jobs that have been converted, or high-paying jobs in big data, have been contractual because once you migrate the data to the Hadoop ecosystem, then you don't need to do that again. So a lot of jobs in the Hadoop ecosystem and the big data world are like contract job, which means that they are only for 6 months to 1 year. The traditional full-time jobs where you would think that that job is going to last for 5 to 10 years, that area or that thing is fading away. Uh, Now, a lot of data is being generated right now, and I've been telling that you have to pick one, either big data specialization or deep learning or machine learning specialization when you do big data. You have to be good at what. My personal advice right now would be to focus on big data and data science because of the supply and demand. So, predictive analytic algorithms have to monitor 3 GB of data every second from millions of users. That's why a lot of jobs right now in big data or of streaming data, how to store and save streaming data. So a lot of companies like Verizon and Amazon, a lot of companies are using data science to do different stuff. The machines are going to take job away, and you have to find out what are going to be the jobs. So this section is supply and demand of jobs. So we are trying to figure out what is going to be the supply of jobs. So the supply would be people who are studying data science, but the demand would be of people who can run voice and image recognition algorithm for Google, for Netflix, for Amazon on what people want to buy and they don't want to buy. So the job of cashier and small retail shops are going to be converted into a war between big companies where they want to predict what you want to buy. Machine learning, as I told you in the definition, it's like a sub-disciple of data science or artificial intelligence. So a lot, and this Forbes article says that AI is going to need a lot of people in maintaining the database, in maintaining the big data infrastructure, in maintaining the algorithm. Because just imagine in the future, in 10 15 years, the trucks are going to be driven by AI. And there is a 50% chance that all human tasks would be automated by robots. So 14 to 54% of the US workforce could see their jobs automated in the next 2 decades. So automation. Now, for people who are not able to cope up to data science program, I suggest them to do a Python automation course. A Python automation course is about web scraping and automating the hard stuff using Python. If you're not good at programming, if you're not good at math, you can still specialize. If you're not able to do anything, into a specialization called automation, Python automation, where you would automate a lot of job in Python, and then you can move up the trajectory. So it's like Python developer. Finance department has been hit the most by automation, and we have been talking about professional services, consulting. All of these were hit the most by the data science and automation. So 75% of the finance job is going to be taken away by automation and robots. Credit Suisse is employing neural network and random forest to eliminate a lot of these jobs. So, I'm sorry about the call. So a lot of these jobs are going to be taken away by machine learning. Credit Suisse says that they use neural network, random forest, and NLP to eliminate job. This is a Watersgate technology report. Now, to understand that, natural language processing can use neural network or can use the regular machine learning algorithm, which we just saw in the scikit-learn library. So a lot of credit suisse are using these models to develop a lot of analyst job, right? For example, earlier, when there is a report, a buy or a sell report based on an equity press conference or a press release, when a company releases its quarterly number, a lot of machines are reading that report to find out whether you should buy that stock or not buy that stock. So earlier, human used to read the report and give a buy or a sell recommendation, but with the help of natural language processing, neural network, and random forest, a computer can read a report and give you whether you should buy or sell that not. So equity analysts are out of their job. A lot of times, when companies used to sell complex derivatives, a lot of that job is automated, so they can get the pricing automatically of whatever the investment banks want to sell any financial derivative to a hedge fund or to a buy side company. So all these jobs are getting automated. Machine learning will disrupt a lot of career, and 8 different ways. These are the articles that I suggest. This is the data from NYU Center for Data Science, one of the courses of data science in New York City. It's an expensive course. I'm not recommending that. I think it's too overrated and too much expensive. But the student position that they got in terms of tag is data scientist, which is a generic position, and machine learning is only 5.4. So that is a kind of a position that companies are using right now, and they are also using data analyst. I'll remind you that data scientist is a broad position, which does not mean that you are an expert on machine learning algorithm. It means that you can understand the science of the data. And most of the job right now went to technology, and the second came to financial services, because technology companies are using this to apply this kind of stuff to a lot of aspects. So that was about the supply and demand and how to gauge that.